to the first ever episode of Unrooted Softball Edition. And my guest here for the first ever episode is the head coach of Menlo College Softball, Christen Hardee. Christen, thanks so much for joining me.
Hi.
So first off, we'll start to get to know Christen a little bit better. This is the first year that you've been here at Menlo College, and the first time that you've been a collegiate head coach. Who have some of your role models been in the coaching world?
My biggest mentor has been Thad Brown. He actually started working with me when I was 12, and is the reason really I was able to compete as well as I did in college and throughout. And he continues to mentor me now, both in life and on the field. Excellent fundamentalist of the game. He worked with the men's national team, and that was my connection then to Peter Turner, another great mentor on the strategy side, who I worked under at San Jose State. And then even Coach Cheek, our coach up at Humboldt State, an excellent disciplinarian and motivator, knew how to coach a championship team.
For those of you who don't know, Christen was a standout catcher at Humboldt State. She graduated in 2004 with a dual Bachelor of Science degree in Environmental Science and Geology with a minor in Watershed Management. Now I have to ask, if you weren't coaching Menlo College softball, what would you be doing right now?
Maybe still getting paid to go camping and walk up and down rivers. I mean, I love the environment, so that was that side of me. I just have way too many interests.
Were you involved in something like that prior to getting into coaching?
Yes, so when I got out of school, I was doing a watershed study. It was actually for UC Berkeley up in the Klamath River watershed. So I got paid to go camping and walk up and down rivers. It was awesome.
It's not too bad of a gig. Right?
No, it was great. It was great. And then I did teaching, so who knows? I mean, I might be in the teaching realm too. So.
Now, we'll transition back into coaching. You understand the grind that catchers go through on a regular basis better than anyone else. How is it different from any other position on the field?
I always tell catchers, if you want to be a catcher, you better, one, love the game, want to do a lot of extra work because you have normal practices with everyone else. Then you have to catch the bullpens, and then you have to do your own catching practice on top of that. Plus any of the hitting that you miss because you're doing the bullpen. So it's one of those things where you just have to really be willing. You got to be a servant, and you got to be tough, and you got to love to put in the extra work. That's for sure. You
were inducted into the Humboldt State Athletics Hall of Fame in 2009. A tremendous honor for you, I'm sure. What's your favorite memory from your playing days?
There's a lot. I mean, Nationals was an amazing experience, and just getting there was an awesome experience. The no doubt feeling that was in that team was really characteristic of a championship team. I'd say my best memory though was when I finally started getting my hitting turned around in my senior year, and the seniors that came alongside me to help me do that, and the extra hours I was putting in to that, and then we actually prayed for a home run. That's how desperate. I was not a power hitter, and my last senior stint, I remember just stepping out of the box and stepping back in and going, okay God, let's see what happens, and letting go and actually just not thinking and trying to hit. And hit one over right center, and that was my only collegiate home run, but it was awesome.
Now, which level of coaching have you found is more difficult, high school or collegiate?
That's a tough question. I would say collegiate in the sense of there's just so much more that you're coaching, but it's your full-time job. You get to pour everything you have into it. High school, the challenge is getting girls that really want to pour everything into it. So it's beautiful being at college where these athletes, these women really want to put in the time and the effort they need to.
And now we'll transition over to the softball team this year. 2016 was a groundbreaking year for Menlo College softball. They tied the program record. They had 30 wins, and the record was set all the way back in 2001. So it's been a while since we've seen that kind of success for Menlo College softball. I had the best regular season record in the Golden State Athletic Conference last year. The offense was potent. The pitching staff was revitalized. But a lot of those pieces from last year's team are gone moving into this year. What are some of the biggest challenges going to be moving forward?
I think some of the biggest challenges, one is going into it again. Well, one, the team has an edge because of how far they went last year. They've already told me their goal is 32 wins. They want to break that record again, right? So I think that's going to be good. The challenge is every team is going to be great. I feel like we have good people coming in, but honestly, my biggest concern, one of the things that we've talked about already, is the length of the season. It's going to be a really long season. We go into April where we kind of taper off. So being able to peak at the right times, rest when we need to, and then be able to peak all the way throughout, I think is going to be the biggest challenge, honestly.
Yeah, last year's schedule was very, very heavy, as you indicated, with this year's as well. I think last year the final schedule wound up having something about 50 games, which I think the first time in program history the schedule's reached that many games. Do you think the girls are ready for it this year?
I think they are more so. I remember when I was interviewing, they're like, are we going to play so many games? We're used to playing like 30, and I was shocked hearing 30. I'm like, well, I'm used to 56, so yeah. So I think they will be ready. We've been doing a lot of extra conditioning. Carl, our strength coach, has been awesome about helping them to get prepared to be able to push themselves. and to make it through that full length of time. So.
Now the offense had the breakout last year. They hit 319 as a team. That's an insane statistic for anyone who's wondering.
Yes.
And 49 home runs as a bunch. Alyssa Sabatasi and Mary Hall both graduated, so you're losing your leadoff hitter and your cleanup hitter from last year. Who are you counting on to pick up the slack, or is this team going to have to play more of a small ball approach?
I'm definitely much more of a hitter than playing the short game. We do still have Elena coming back. Hopefully we got some help thing there. We'll talk about that. Shiggy, so Brooke Shigematsu, she's going to be another great hitter for us there. And then we do have a lot of great hitters still in the lineup. In the fall, I was really pleased. We did like groups of 4 in our hitting, and it was just, we had a lot of power in there. A lot of the freshmen have come in and shown both speed and power. So I definitely feel we'll be working gap to gap and passing the bat is basically the way we used to say it. So.
You highlighted it with Elena Morgan. Last year she had the program record for 15 home runs in a single season. Mm-hmm. Can she hit 20?
I don't doubt that she's capable of it. I'm hoping she did have a surgery in the fall, so coming off of that, making sure that she's strong. Right now she's working to be able to be back out there. Anytime she's been able to come out and hit, she hasn't lost anything, so I'm excited to be able to use her and hope we can get to that.
Now, speaking of injuries, Bryce Etzler is slated to return this year following a very unfortunate 2016. For those of you who followed the team last year, you know she missed time with a leg injury, and then she had facial surgery after taking a ground ball, had a nasty hop right up into the face. It was just a terrible 2016 for her. How big is that for the team to have her leadership back on the field this year?
I think it will be really huge. One of the things, though, even in the fall, watching them go through, because she was out actually with shoulder surgery as well, the team really had to step up. And so getting the depth we needed on the middle infield, and then now having her back, and she was out there as a presence throughout the fall, which was awesome, but now having her back out and working into it so that we have her throughout the season is just going to it added in both ways. Other people had to step up and lead, and now we have her leadership back as well. So it'll be huge.
Now, 2/3 of the pitching staff from last year is gone. Jessie Salisbury was the leader of the staff last year, and Kelly Hager graduated. What's the status of the pitchers this year, and who can we expect to see big things from?
Very excited actually about our pitching staff. We weren't sure coming into this how it was going to go. We have Victoria Cervantes, who is a freshman that was recruited in. Coach Pena has been working with her. She looked great in the fall. She's been very strong for us. Sarah Reyes is one that we were able to transfer in pretty much in August. She was able to come back. She's local, and she's done really well for us in the fall as well. So I think the two of them will be a big push to be able to balance. And then we have Chris and Jordan coming back, so they will give us kind of that offset that we need in a different style of pitching. So we should be really rounded and have 4 to be able to manipulate and use. So.
And that right there makes the Golden State Athletic Conference yours for the taking. After being the team that led the conference in wins last year, there's just one team ranked in the top 25 this year. That's San Diego Christian, and Menlo beat San Diego Christian once in the playoffs last year before the Hawks knocked them out late in the season. What is your take on the conference this year, and how tough is it going to be?
I like to look at every opponent as a national champion, and we're going to play each one that way. Looking through the stats in this, and really who they have coming back, and honestly the pitching mostly, I have a lot of respect for Arizona Christian still, for Vanguard. I think they've got a pretty good staff coming in. I definitely, I know Hope has been out recruiting a ton, so I'm interested to see how they look even as well. So definitely going to go at all of them as if they're the top of the league and we got to knock them off. So.
Perfect approach to take. Going back to the schedule, this year's schedule, while yes, it has a lot of games on it, there's a lot more road games on it this year than there were last year. What challenges does that create for players, but also for you as a coach?
For me as a coach, I'll say I'm a little bit used to it because we traveled a lot at San Jose State as well. So, but it is a matter of keeping them motivated and helping them to, not even just the motivation, but traveling can be exhausting. So again, it's that, how do we rest enough to be prepared to be sharp in our game every time? I do think this team, we actually did a lot of fall games away. I think they play fine on other fields and other complexes. I think they have a little bit of an edge of like, hey, we're going to come in here and take it from you on your spot. So in a sense, I think that'll be good. The fact that we have so many away, I think they'll get used to that aspect, and it should hopefully help us in the postseason when we have to travel.
Now, Winterlick Field is one of the only facilities that you'll play at this year that has an all-turf field, yes, both infield and outfield. What are your thoughts on a turf field versus a standard grass and dirt field?
Well, I'll say right now, in the last 2 weeks, I love the turf field.
As you can see right now, we're indoors in the Russell Center because we had to take shelter from the rain that's outside.
But we were able to get out and practice. We've been able to get on the field when it's not raining. As long as it's not pouring outside, we've been able to be out there. And even in the rain, we've been able to be out there to some extent. So that's been awesome. The girls have been taking a lot of quick balls. So the biggest thing is now when we go to dirt, getting on dirt a few times before we go out there so that they learn to stay down and read the hops differently. But I love it. I think it's a great advantage for us as long as we get that time on the dirt before we travel. So.
All right, let's transition into our final segment of the show. It's called Brownie Bites. 3 random rapid-fire style questions. You're going to have to give me your best answer as quickly as you can and explain as necessary. You ready to go?
Ready.
Question number 1. What is the craziest road trip story that you can tell me on the air?
Okay. Craziest that I can tell you actually was our trip to nationals. We literally, leaving Arcata, puddle jumpers, they had to take things off the plane because it was too heavy, some of which was our helmet and our gear and everything else. We puddle jumped up to Oregon, and then we were supposed to go to Washington. There was a delay in one of the flights. Long story short, we ended up busing from Washington all the way down to Virginia. Got in at like 3 in the morning, did not have our hotel rooms, nothing was available. We went to this sleazy hotel just down the street. It was a mess. Our gear finally came in the following day. We had to go out and practice with like nothing. It was crazy. So I would say that was probably the craziest trip, but it was pretty much, if it's this hard to get there, we're not leaving without a championship. So gotta love those.
Question number 2. What player on your team wishes it would rain every day for the rest of 2017?
Wishes that it would rain every day. Oh gosh. I would say Morgan Zimmerman, actually. Like, she just loves to be out there, and she could care less what it is. Like, it's raining, okay, good, let's go dive. You know, like, I would say she definitely just eats it up. Like, okay, let's try wet balls, and how good can I pull it down when it's wet? So, maybe the ones from Washington, though, dude. Those girls
that would make
really
sense.
like the water.
Yeah, they're used to it. So coming
to
here is normally an oddity for them, but with the rain we've been getting the past 3-4 weeks, they're feeling just like they're at home.
They are. They love it.
Final question. What player on your team knows the most about environmental science, geology, or watershed management?
I'm definitely going to go back to my Pacific Northwest girls. I would say J-Mad, she is a lumberjack, right? So I'm hoping she's got a little bit of that in her. So.
I think that's probably, knowing Jessica a little bit, I think you're probably right with that one. Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining me here, and thank you for tuning in to the first ever episode of Unrooted Softball Edition. Next week, we will be joined by Jessica Madison, the aforementioned lumberjack, who will be here. I'll be interviewing her next week on the show. And don't forget to tune in to Menlo College Softball, opening up their season on Saturday out at Wonderlic Field. They take on the University of Antelope Valley. Doubleheader starting at 12 o'clock, correct?
Yes, absolutely. With the sun.
Hopefully. Fingers are crossed on that one if it's not raining like it is today. I'll be on the call that one, so you won't want to miss that one on the Menlo College Sports Network. This has been Brian Brownfield saying thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.